Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to walk you through Caldera's server startup parameters, how to customize your configuration file, and how to install non-default plugins. Let's start with the server startup flags. So when launching Caldera from the terminal, you can pass several parameters. These will include custom config files, logging levels, or limiting which plugins load. Only one flag is required every time you start Caldera, the flag that tells it which configuration file to use. So here we can see the different startup flags, beginning with --insecure. This starts Caldera with the default config file located within the conf directory. The file is called default.yaml. Starting Caldera with this flag is not recommended because, as the name implies, it's insecure. This file contains hard-coded secrets and wide-open network bindings such as API keys, plain text credentials, default ports, and C2 channels. So if you run Caldera with --insecure on a system that's reachable from another machine, or worse, from the internet, anyone who knows Caldera could log in, impersonate agents, or abuse your C2 infrastructure. So this flag is really only intended for local testing, demos, or first-time exploration. In any real environment, you should always create a custom config file and start Caldera with the --environment or -e flag instead. So --build will be used the first time you launch Caldera or anytime you update the UI code to build the front end. Next is the --log. So this flag sets the logging level. The options for this flag include debug, info, warning, error, and critical. The debug is especially helpful for troubleshooting issues that you may be experiencing. --fresh clears user-generated data such as custom abilities, adversaries, operations, and agent lists. So Caldera will back up this data to a directory, so if you need to recover that information, you can do so. --environment is where you specify a configuration file. So this is the flag we'll use when loading our custom config. The next parameter is --plugins. So this launches Caldera with only the specified plugins that you enabled. So as you can see, I specified the stockpile plugins. So I'm just going to quickly show logging into Caldera with default credentials admin. And here you can see only the stockpile plugin loaded. So here I'm going to walk you through creating a custom configuration. First thing that we'll do is starting from the root Caldera directory, we notice there is a conf folder. So I'm going to go ahead and cd into this directory. And let's take a look at the default configuration. Inside the conf directory, default.yaml contains all the server's configuration variables. Things like contact protocols, API keys, encryption settings, enabled plugins, host port values, and more. So for example, the host and port define where the server listens. Plugins lists all enabled plugins. These app.contact fields configure the various C2 channels such as HTTP, TCP, UDP, DNS. The user fields define the red and blue team accounts. Ability, refresh, requirements, encryption keys, and other core settings live here as well. For this video, we'll modify only the most commonly updated values. Let's move on to creating a custom configuration. Before making changes, make sure Caldera is not running. I'm going to copy the default.yaml into a new file called custom.yaml. And then inside custom.yaml, I'll update the server's IP address so I can access this instance remotely. I'm going to grab the VM's IP using IP space A. I'll go ahead and paste that IP address value that I copied into this host field. So this will be my new Caldera server IP address. Then I'm going to scroll back up and make sure that my app.contact.http also has this new IP address value. So this will ensure I can reach Caldera over HTTP. Next, I want to give my Caldera server a custom port number. So I'm going to give the value 1111 to be my new port number for the Caldera server. And I have to scroll all the way down to make sure that this port field is also changed to 1111. So next, I'm going to scroll down and create new users. So I'm going to add a new blue team user and a new red team user. This blue user, I'm going to call Juju and give it a password of Juju backwards, so UJ. And then I'm also going to create a new red team user, specifying a username of Penny and the password of Penny. Now, obviously, these credentials aren't secure, so in a production environment, definitely use a strong passphrase or password generator. The last thing I want to guide you through here is installing a non-default plugin. So today I want to show you how to install some of the Caldera for OT plugins. So I went ahead and created a temporary directory, and I'm going to navigate to the Caldera for OT GitHub page. And here I can scroll down and see that there's some installation steps for the plugin. I'm just going to copy this git clone command and paste it into this temporary directory that I created. Once that is downloaded, I can cd into this folder and see all of the different Caldera for OT plugins. I'm just double checking to make sure that all of the folders and everything were recursively installed. So I do want to install the backnet protocol. So this is one of the several Caldera for OT plugins. So I'm going to copy this backnet folder recursively, and here I'm just grabbing the full path to the Caldera plugins directory. So the plugins folder is where all of the plugins live. This is where you're going to want to paste the backnet plugin. So I'm going to copy that file path and copy this backnet folder into the plugins directory. And here I can see, if I run a ls, there's the backnet folder. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the name of the plugin to my custom.yaml file. So keeping it alphabetical order, I'm just going to add a line and specify backnet. So that's the name of the plugin and the name of the folder as well. So I'll go ahead and save this configuration file. And now we can boot up Caldera with all of our custom configs. So make sure I'm in the right directory. And I'll do my python3 server.py -e and custom, which is the name of our custom configuration file. And I'm going to specify the --build flag. So here, once we see all systems ready, we know that Caldera is ready. So I can navigate to the IP address that I specified in the configuration file and the 1111 port number. I can log in as a blue user, Juju, and see the blue dashboard. And I can also log in as that Penny red team user as well. So here's the red team dashboard, and here you can also see the BACnet plugin is installed. So I also want to quickly show that you can access Caldera from your host machine. So if Caldera is running from a VM, you can access Caldera from your host by navigating to that IP address as well. So this also kind of simulates accessing Caldera from a remote machine. And here I can see my BACnet plugin and all of the abilities associated with that plugin as well. So that's how you create your custom configuration file for Caldera. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.